The voice from the street. Petra was 8 years old, but her eyes carried the weight of someone much older. She lived on the streets, her bare feet scarred and calloused, her clothes torn and stained. Her face, delicate and beautiful, was etched with despair and uncertainty. Since losing her parents at a tender age, Petra had learned to survive alone. She slept on cold floors, shared scraps with strangers, and sang for coins to buy a meager dinner. Her only companion was an old guitar with a cracked body and rusted strings, her greatest treasure, the last remnant of a home she barely remembered. With her guitar, Petra sang on street corners, in parks, and at fairs, trading melodies for coins or bread. But this time, the stage was different, bigger, terrifying. She had been invited to perform at the nation's largest talent contest, broadcast live to millions, with bright lights, demanding judges, and a massive audience. Her heart pounded unevenly backstage as a man's voice called her name. Petra turned sharply. It was a producer, tall, with a badge around his neck and earphones dangling. She swallowed hard and stepped forward, trembling. "It's me," she mumbled, barely audible. The producer flashed a quick smile and gestured with his tablet. "You're next." For a moment, Petra's world stopped. The crowd's roar, the blinding lights, the cameras, movement, all vanished. Only the frantic beat of her heart remained. She clutched her guitar to her chest, trying to stay strong. But before her name was announced, the host's lively voice boomed through the speakers, "We'll take a short break. We'll return with a performance that, I'm told, will be shocking." Petra exhaled in relief. She seized the moment to rush to the bathroom, locking herself inside. Leaning against the sink, she stared at her reflection. "Come on, Petra, you've survived worse," she whispered, fighting tears. Her hand rested on her racing heart. "You've sung on the streets for no one and never gave up. Now just sing for more people. That's all." She splashed cold water on her face, took a deep breath, and looked in the mirror again. Her smile was shaky but determined. "Just sing. You can sing." She tied her hair back, fixed a loose sandal lace, grabbed her guitar, and stepped out. In the hallway, the producer shouted, "Break's over. Everyone to your places." A chill ran down Petra's spine, but she inhaled deeply and headed to the stage. The crowd's noise returned, lights flared, and the host took his place with a dazzling grin. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced with enthusiasm, "our next contestant is a new voice set to touch the nation. She comes from nothing and is here for a chance at everything. Please welcome Petra." The curtains parted. Silence fell over the audience. They stared curiously at the thin girl in simple clothes, clutching a battered guitar. Petra took hesitant steps to the stage's center. Sweat beaded on her forehead under the harsh lights. She glanced at the crowd, then her guitar, closed her eyes, and strummed the first chord. The old strings rang out softly, pure. But before she could sing a word, disaster struck. A rope yanked from backstage, and a bucket of thick paint tipped over, drenching her. Paint streamed down her hair, face, and clothes, staining her guitar. It pooled on the stage floor. Silence gripped the room, then cruel laughter erupted. Some shouted, others laughed mercilessly. Petra froze. Tears filled her eyes, her hands shook, and her heart screamed to run, to vanish, to never sing again. From backstage, other child contestants watched, many giggling. "Did you really think we'd let a beggar sing here?" one sneered. The laughter echoed in Petra's mind. She looked down at her paint-soaked guitar, her companion through cold nights, now. As humiliated as she was. Time seemed to freeze, pulling her back to days before this nightmare began, a simpler life, full of quiet hope. Without spotlights or competition, the world was Petra's stage. She slept under awnings, hugging her guitar like a teddy bear. Its makeshift case was torn tarpaulin, tied with a clothesline rope. Full of patches, it was her treasure. Each morning, she woke to shop shutters rising and hurried voices. To her, it was the city's good morning. One morning, she rubbed her eyes, stretched, and smiled despite the cold's ache. "Let's try another day, faithful friend," she whispered to her guitar. "Today feels lucky." She brushed dust from her jacket, slung the guitar over her back, and walked the sidewalk, dodging hurried people. At a bus stop, she sat on the cold floor, watching shoes and suitcases pass. No one noticed her. Petra took a deep breath. Time to start the day beautifully. The first note trembled, as if the guitar hesitated under her small fingers. Then came the second, the third, and her voice filled the air. Singing with closed eyes, she let her heart guide the sound. For a moment, the world vanished, only she and the music existed. A harsh voice broke the spell. A man in a suit, phone in hand, turned irritably. Can you stop that noise? I'm trying to take a call. Petra ignored him, clutching her guitar and playing on. The melody grew bolder, her shield against the world's cruelty. Soon, a security guard appeared, hands on hips, his face cold. Kid, how many times have I told you? You can't sing here and bother passengers. Leave before I call the police. Petra hugged her guitar tightly. I'm not bothering anyone, sir. I'm just singing, she said, voice trembling. You are. This is for working people, not beggars. Go. His arms crossed, face burning with shame. Petra stood slowly and walked away, guitar on her back, heart heavy. She wandered until she found a park. Tall trees offered shade, and the wind carried scents of earth and flowers. A good spot. She sat on an empty bench, pulled out her guitar, and played softly, shyly. Gradually, passers-by stopped. A group of young people formed a small circle around her. Petra noticed their interest and smiled for the first time that day. She played with passion, her voice flowing. For once, it seemed someone was truly listening. The cruel world gave her a moment's reprieve. Music made it all worthwhile. But joy was fleeting. One boy in the group smirked at his friends. Look, the park pigeon thinks she's a nightingale, he mocked, filming on his phone. Sing for us, beggar pop star. The others laughed. Beggar pop star, nice one. One shouted, kicking a can. Their laughter filled the park. They clapped sarcastically, mocking her every verse. Petra kept playing, biting her lip, gripping her guitar. But when one boy mimicked her voice exaggeratedly, the humiliation was unbearable. She stopped, stood, brushed dust from her clothes, and packed her guitar silently. Turning away, she muttered, I was wrong, friend. This day's as bad as the rest. She found a quieter corner, the wind gentle. As she prepared to stow her guitar, a calm, kind voice called, wait. Were you singing just now? Petra turned, wary. A couple approached, their eyes free of judgment. The woman, with dark skin and a ponytail, smiled warmly. The man, kind-eyed, held a folder and notebook. Petra's heart raced, expecting rejection. Yes, it was me, she said quickly. But I'm leaving. I won't bother anyone. The woman knelt to Petra's level, smiling gently. No, dear, we stopped you because your voice is beautiful. Petra blinked, confused. Beautiful, my voice. The woman nodded. The man knelt too, resting his notebook on his knee. When we hear something so beautiful, we want to stop the world to listen, he said, smiling. That's what I felt. Petra stood frozen, processing. No one had ever spoken to her like this. The man extended a hand. I'm Pedro, and this is my wife, Lillian. We work with music, lessons, performances. Sometimes we find talented kids like you for the region's biggest talent contest. Lillian handed Petra a card with golden letters. You should join us, she said softly. Petra held the card like a treasure, glancing between it and the couple. Me, in a contest? She gave a nervous half-smile. I don't think so. Everyone laughs when I sing. Pedro shook his head gently. Sometimes we believe we can't because the world keeps telling us so. But what if the world's wrong? Petra stared at the ground. No one wants to see me there. People don't even look at me. Lillian touched her shoulder lightly. You were born to sing, not to hide. Think about it. Petra was silent, torn between fear and hope. Lillian continued calmly, you don't have to decide now. If you change your mind, come to the address on the card. We'll be waiting. Petra clutched the card to her chest and watched them leave. She looked at the crumpled paper, sighed, and hugged her guitar. I don't know if I'm meant for a stage, she whispered. Maybe just the sidewalk. She tucked the card into her torn pocket and stared at the ground, the city's distant noise swallowing her fading hope. The next morning, before sunrise, Petra woke under a gray sky, the cold biting. She stretched, hugged her guitar, and smiled faintly. Another day, friend. But instead of the bus stop, she visited her only friend, Joãozinho, a shoe shiner she called her street brother. He understood life without a home. At his spot, Joãozinho sat on his wooden box, polishing a businessman's shoes, his crooked cap and greasy apron familiar. Seeing Petra, he grinned. Look who's brightening my workplace. Thought you'd become a global singer and forgotten me. Petra giggled. If I were a real singer, you'd be my bodyguard, Joãozinho. He pretended to consider. Hired. But you'd better pay well. Shoe shining's slow these days. They laughed, finding humor in their struggles. Joãozinho finished his work, wiped his hands, and grew serious. You look off, Petra. What's wrong? She sighed. Something strange happened. I was singing yesterday, and a couple stopped to listen. They said my voice was beautiful. Joãozinho's eyebrows shot up. Seriously, that's amazing. They were kind, Petra continued. The woman said my voice made her want to stop the world to listen. The man said he works with music and helps kids sing in a contest. She pulled out the crumpled card, stained and torn. But I can't read it. Joãozinho took it eagerly. Leave it to me. His eyes widened. Wait, I know this. It's that famous TV show, where kids show talents with judges and a big audience. It's called Brazil's Voice. The address is José Sabia Street, number 125. Fancy place. Petra, they want you to sing on the show. Petra's head dropped. They were just being nice. No one wants a girl like me singing. Joãozinho's mouth fell open. What's that nonsense? Of course you're going. He lowered his voice, calming down. I'd be in the front row, clapping for you. Petra smiled shyly. You say that because you're my friend. He shook his head. Petra, you're amazing. You've got talent. Don't waste it. Sing. It's what I'd do with a gift like yours. Her heart lightened. You've got talent too, Joãozinho. He laughed. My talent's shining shoes, and I do it without complaining. Ever seen me cry or turn down a customer? No. He tapped his box. Petra's smile grew. You're right. You sound like a nagging old man, but you're right. She adjusted her guitar. I'll find that couple. Is José Sabia Street far? Joãozinho grinned. A bit, but you can walk it. Petra took a deep breath. See you, friend. She started walking. Now, Joãozinho called, surprised. If I think too much, I'll back out, she replied over her shoulder. With her guitar on her back, Petra walked, her heart pounding with each step. She read signs aloud, searching for number 125. This street's huge, she muttered. Distracted, she bumped into a well-dressed woman. The woman stepped back, disgusted. That's all I needed. I thought Mary cleared the beggars from downtown. Petra's heart raced, but she stayed calm. Sorry, ma'am, I'm not begging. I'm looking for number 125. The woman rolled her eyes. That's the Brazil's Voice building. What do you want there? Never mind, it's around the corner. Get out of my way. Petra nodded, hiding her shame. Thank you. She ran, dodging crowds. Eyes followed her, some scornful, some curious. Whispers trailed her as she neared her destination, the card in her pocket her only guide.